Hello and welcome to my channel Psych Degree. This video is on the dark side of past treatments, how they reflect a demonic view of abnormal behavior. In this video, I will be discussing the historical context of how abnormal behavior was viewed and treated in the past, as well as the negative effects that these treatments had on individuals. I will also explore the underlying belief system that drove these treatments, which was rooted in a demonic view of abnormal behavior. Well, before starting the video, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. First, coming to the historical context. Before the modern era, abnormal behavior was viewed through a religious lens, and individuals who exhibited such behavior were often seen as possessed by demons or other supernatural entities. As a result, treatments for abnormal behavior were often brutal and inhumane, as they were intended to expel these demons from the afflicted individual. In the past, the treatment of abnormal behavior was a reflection of the societal understanding and perception of mental illness. The prevailing view at that time was that mental illness was not a medical condition, but rather a spiritual one. This belief was rooted in the religious and cultural traditions of the time, and it held that abnormal behavior was evidence of demonic possession or spiritual deficiency. As a result, treatments for mental illness were often brutal and inhumane, as they were intended to expel the supposed demon or restore spiritual balance. One of the most infamous treatments for abnormal behavior was exorcism, which involved the use of various rituals and incantations to drive out the supposed demon, causing the abnormal behavior. Exorcisms were often accompanied by physical restraints, as the individual was believed to be possessed and therefore dangerous. Many individuals who underwent exorcism suffered from physical and psychological trauma, and some even died from the harsh treatment. Another treatment for abnormal behavior was trepanation, which involved drilling a hole in the skull to release the supposed demon causing the abnormal behavior. This treatment was also accompanied by physical restraints and was often performed without any anesthesia, leading to excruciating pain and long-term physical and psychological damage. Let's talk about the negative effects. The negative effects of these treatments were far-reaching and long-lasting. Individuals who underwent these treatments often suffered from physical and psychological trauma, including chronic pain, disfigurement, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Many also experienced social isolation and stigmatization, as their abnormal behavior was seen as an evidence of moral weakness or spiritual deficiency. In addition, the belief system that drove these treatments had a profound impact on society's understanding of abnormal behavior. By framing abnormal behavior as evidence of demonic possession or spiritual deficiency, individuals who exhibited such behavior were seen as morally and spiritually inferior. This, in turn, reinforced societal prejudices and stereotypes, further marginalizing individuals who were already suffering from mental illness. Now, let us look into the demonic view of abnormal behavior. It is understood that the underlying belief system that drove these treatments was rooted in a demonic view of abnormal behavior. This view held that abnormal behavior was evidence of demonic possession or spiritual deficiency, and that the only way to treat such behavior was to expel the supposed demon or restore spiritual balance. This belief system was deeply ingrained in religious and cultural traditions, and was reinforced by social and political institutions. As a result, it was difficult to challenge or question these beliefs, and those who did were often met with suspicion or even hostility. These treatments were not limited to Western societies. Many cultures around the world had their own forms of spiritual or supernatural treatments for abnormal behavior. For example, in some African cultures, mental illness was seen as an evidence of possession by ancestral spirits, and treatments involved communicating with these spirits to resolve the issue. Moreover, the stigma and prejudice towards mental illness in the past had far-reaching consequences for individuals and society as a whole. Mental illness was not just misunderstood, but it was also stigmatized, and people with mental illness were seen as outcasts or dangerous. This led to a cycle of isolation, marginalization, and abuse, which not only hurt the individuals who were suffering but also perpetuated the stigma and prejudice towards mental illness. The consequences of past treatments and beliefs about abnormal behavior are still visible in many societies today. Mental illness is still stigmatized in many cultures and is often seen as a sign of weakness or lack of willpower. As a result, many people with mental illness avoid seeking treatment or are reluctant to talk about their struggles openly. However, there have been significant strides in the understanding and treatment of mental illness in recent years. The development of psychotherapy, psychotropic medication, and other forms of treatment have revolutionized the way we approach mental illness. These treatments are based on scientific evidence rather than superstition, and they are much more effective and humane than the treatments of the past. Moreover, there has been a growing awareness of the social and cultural factors that contribute to the stigma and prejudice towards mental illness. Efforts are being made to address these issues and to promote understanding and acceptance of mental illness. Mental health campaigns, public education initiatives, and anti-stigma programs have all been effective in challenging the stereotypes and prejudices associated with mental illness. It is important to recognize the role of cultural and social factors in shaping our understanding and treatment of mental illness. While we have come a long way in our understanding and treatment of mental illness, there is still much work to be done to address the stigma and prejudice that exists in many cultures and societies. One key area where progress is needed is in promoting greater diversity and inclusivity in mental health research and treatment. Studies have shown that people from certain ethnic and racial groups are less likely to receive appropriate mental health care or are more likely to receive lower quality care. This is due in part to biases and stereotypes held by mental health professionals, as well as systemic barriers such as lack of access to care and insurance coverage. To address these issues, it is important to promote greater cultural competence and sensitivity among mental health professionals, as well as to increase representation of diverse groups in mental health research and treatment. This includes ensuring that mental health services are accessible and affordable to all, regardless of income, race, or ethnicity. Another important area of focus is in promoting greater awareness and education about mental illness in the broader community. This includes efforts to challenge stereotypes and myths about mental illness, as well as to promote understanding and empathy for those who are struggling with mental health challenges. Initiatives such as mental health awareness campaigns, public education programs, and anti-stigma initiatives have been effective in promoting greater awareness and understanding of mental illness. In addition, it is important to recognize the social and environmental factors that contribute to mental illness, including poverty, discrimination, trauma, and social isolation. Addressing these underlying factors requires a holistic approach that goes beyond just treating the symptoms of mental illness. This may include initiatives to promote greater economic and social equality, as well as efforts to address issues such as trauma and abuse. Finally, it is important to recognize the role of individuals and communities in promoting mental health and well-being. This includes efforts to build resilience and coping skills, as well as to promote positive social connections and support networks. Initiatives such as peer support groups, community programs, and online support forums can all be effective in promoting mental health and well-being. In conclusion, the dark history of past treatments for abnormal behavior reflects a societal view that framed mental illness as evidence of demonic possession or spiritual deficiency. These beliefs and treatments were based on superstition rather than scientific evidence, and they often resulted in physical and psychological trauma for individuals who underwent them. The negative effects of these treatments have had far-reaching consequences, contributing to the stigmatization and marginalization of people with mental illness. However, there has been significant progress in recent years in the understanding and treatment of mental illness. New treatments and approaches are based on scientific evidence, and efforts are being made to address the social and cultural factors that contribute to stigma and prejudice. By promoting greater awareness, education, and inclusivity in mental health research and treatment, as well as addressing underlying social and environmental factors, we can work towards a more compassionate and equitable society that promotes mental health and well-being for all. Thank you for watching this video on the dark side of past treatments, how they reflect a demonic view of abnormal behavior. If you found this video informative, please consider subscribing to my channel for more content like this. And hey, please don't forget to like, share and comment.